Welcome to Q&A practice. We'll start with the plaintiff attorney. Ready? Here we go. Okay, Your Honor, may I approach? You may. Officer, I'm going to show you what's pre-marked as People 73. If you can take a look, there's 2 pages on that piece of evidence. Yes. Do you recognize any of the photos in those 2 pages? Yes. They are photos that I took. Okay, on that night, yes. And how do you know that? Whenever I take photos, I do what's called a photo report page, which basically lists the incident number, the date and time and address of where I take the photos. Okay, and do you see that there? Yes. And I also have my name and ID number on that photo sheet. May I approach? You may. Thank you. Do you usually put into sequence of the photos that you take the beginning and the end, the photo sheet? Yes. And I'm going to show you what's pre-marked as People 73, front page, top left picture. Is this a photo sheet that you were referring to? Yes. Okay, does that mean that you got there at 4 in the morning, or you took the photos at 4 in the morning, or do you remember? It usually means that's what time I took the photos, but sometimes I'll list the time of the call, the original call. So it had to be around that time, I would say. Give or take how many minutes? I would say give or take 30 minutes at the most. Okay, all right. Sometimes officers that are investigating the crimes longer before I'm called for photos. All right, do you recall when you got there, who was running the scene, if anyone? The handling officer was Officer Black and his trainee, Officer Vance. Okay, and how did you know that? Typically when I arrive, I try to find out who the handling officer is and approach them and ask them what they want photos of, okay? Or someone will direct me, if there are other officers there, someone will direct me who the handling officers are. Is it common for the handling officers to be someone with a trainee? Yes. Do you see Jim Black in the courtroom today? Yes. Could you describe where he's sitting and an article of clothing he's wearing for the court? Wearing a dark suit in between the 2 gentlemen at the table to your right. Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness identified defendant? Yes, thank you. And did he tell you he was running the scene, or did you learn it from some other people? I'm not sure who exactly told me. There were several officers there, so I don't recall who specifically told me that he was, or if I don't remember who I first talked to. Okay, now I'm going to turn the page, same exhibit. What? Down below, underneath the image, it says 841694142. What does that mean? I don't know. Okay, and then it says 3:27:10. Is that the time that it was actually taken? Yes, that's probably the time that's in the camera. Okay, all right. Why'd you take this photo? Either Officer Black or Officer Vance directed me to take the photos, so I'm sure one of them pointed that out and said they wanted photos of it. Do you recall that it was one of those 2? I'm pretty sure it had to be one of them. I think it was Officer Vance. She directed you to it. I believe so. Okay, now do you recall what was in this bag up here, the same photo? I believe it was syringes. Okay, you hesitate a little bit. Well, originally when I spoke to, or when I was interviewed, I didn't recall what was in it, and then I was told that that's what was in it, and then that jogged my memory, and then I remembered it being syringes. Okay, when you were taking the photo, did you happen to see the syringe right next to the bag? I don't recall if I actually saw it, or if it was just told to take the photo. Typically when I respond to take photos, I'm just there to take photos. And so I take photos of whatever they ask me to take photos of. Okay, all right. Is that your main duty, just to take photos at scenes when I'm directed or when I'm dispatched, just to take photos? Yes. Okay, and do you recall how many photos you actually took? Counting the photo sheets, I believe it was 6. All right, let me ask you something. I have the same exhibit up there, People's 73. We see here it says under the first photo sheet, the last 3 digits are 137, right? Yes. To the right of it, it goes in sequence. Is that fair to say? 138? Yes. I believe I believe that's a computer generated number from when they're downloaded, but I don't know if that's actually on the picture itself. Okay, and then 139, 140, next page 141, 142, 143, and 144. Is that how you're able to tell looking at it from the first photo sheet to the last photo sheet how many photos are actually taken? Yes, and I always take a picture of the photo sheet of each, and sometimes I'll take photos at more than one incident, so that shows me that the beginning of that incident and the ending of that incident, that then if I take another photo before I have a chance to download them, I'll take another photo starting with the next photo sheet. Okay, and out of the 6 photos, how many photos were taken in the homeowner's bedroom? Do you recall? No. Okay, would it refresh your memory if I showed you the 6 photos? Yes, it might. I'm not sure. With the court's permission, sure. I think all the photos except for the one displaying the address and the photo sheets were taken in the same room that had the bed in it and closet. Okay, is that because you were directed to that room? Yes. And how many of the 6 photos were you directed to take of the drug paraphernalia? Well, the syringe was the only one, I guess. I don't think the others. Why were you taking the picture of the outside of the closet? Do you recall? Are you speaking of this one? Yes, the top left one on the second page, same exhibit. I don't remember why. Let me grab that back from you. Officer, is it sometimes the case that when you, same exhibit, second page, top right picture, when you have a close-up like image number ending 142, you want to also take one further back to see where it actually was? Yes. Okay. You take an overall picture to show the relationship of the close-up. Okay, when you got to the scene, do you recall ever seeing a young lady that was not an officer in the living room? Yes. Okay, where was she? Do you remember? When I first saw her, I'm not sure which room she was in. Okay, do you recall it all? Well, where were the different places that you did see her, if anywhere, if you can remember? I think she was in both, in the bedroom and the living room, not in one spot in particular. I mean, walking around. Okay, are you sure about that, or is that something that you're just kind of remembering? I'm pretty sure that I guess the best answer would be I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. From what I remember, I think she was for sure in the living room, and then I don't remember about the bedroom or the kitchen area. Okay, do you recall ever seeing her maybe next to the bedroom? In the bathroom? Objection, no foundation, leading, overruled. I don't remember seeing her in the bathroom in particular, or in any other room. Who, if anyone, did you see talking to her? I don't recall anybody specifically talking to her. I wasn't really focused on her. I was just focused on taking pictures of where I was directed, so I don't recall seeing anybody specifically speaking to her. Okay, now about how long would you say you were at the residence? Could you give us an estimate? I would say probably not more than 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, and while at the scene, what was the mood of the different officers that were there? Do you recall? Relaxed, just normal, like it was just a typical call. Okay, do you remember being interviewed by Detective Wyatt? Yes. Do you remember saying it was normal or even jovial? Well, I don't think I said jovial. I think I just described it as relaxed. Okay, when you saw the female that was in the living room and possibly also in the bedroom, how did she appear to you? Normal. Do you recall telling Detective Wyatt like a typical drug user? Yes. Why do you have that impression? That's what she originally struck me as. Okay, and while you were there, were the other officers searching the apartment, or had they already searched it to your knowledge? When I got there, I believe they were already done searching and everything was already checked or secured. Okay, and what gave you that belief? Because typically when I'm responding for photos, it's usually after everything has been taken care of. Otherwise, I wouldn't be walking up with my camera. Did you see a bunch of stuff thrown around in the house when you got there? Did there seem to be stuff on the ground? It seemed to be like a normal messy house, so yeah, there was stuff everywhere. Did you know if it was normally messy like that, or if the officers had searched it and I have no idea of the condition prior to them. Okay, while you were leaving the bedroom and going into the living room area, did you ever notice anything on your belt? Yes. Okay, and what was that? A pair of blue underwear. Okay, underwear, yes. And did you think that was funny? No. What'd you do? Do you remember? I knocked them off my belt, and I think I had finished taking the pictures. I was on my way leaving. Okay, and I'm going to show you what's pre-marked as People's 15. Where were you? Do you recognize this area, by the way? Yes. All right, and is that the area that you had taken the pictures at that night, or that residence? Yes, that was the residence. Where were you, if anywhere, in this photo when you noticed those underwear on your belt? I think I was by the brown, looks like some kind of dresser, between the couch and the dresser. If I recall correctly, the closet or the bedroom. There's a door that's not shown here that I just came out, walked through there to get to the front door. All right, may I approach, Your Honor? You may. Officer, I'm going to give you this laser, this button right here where it says laser. If you can describe where you were at when you saw those underwear on your gun belt. I think I was standing around this area right here. All right, and that will conclude our Q&A practice.